By now, you've probably heard my magic wand story. It's a brand that's been part of my personal journey for more than 20 years. But no matter how many times I sing Magic Wand's praises, I'll never be able to fully capture the story of this incredible brand. Well, now journalist and author Kate Sloan just completed a limited audio series documenting the history and impact that Magic Wand has created over the last 56 years. It's called Making Magic. And the series chronicles Magic Wand's incredible brand story through interviews with nearly 40 experts, performers, business owners, educators, and fans. So I got a sneak preview of this series, and what I loved is that Kate weaves together snippets from all their interviews into this amazing story arc. She covers Magic Wand's journey from appliance store massager to its legendary influence on culture and sexual independence, and it's all just fascinating. The first episodes of Making Magic are available now at makingmagicseries.com or on all popular podcast platforms. Just search for Making Magic or visit makingmagicseries.com today. Thanks for listening to Sex with Emily. On today's show, I'm joined by actor Scott Eastwood to talk about his adventurous lifestyle, what great sex is really like, and why we need to just stop judging everyone. All this and more. Thanks for listening.
Into his eyes. They're the eyes of a man obsessed by sex. Eyes that mock our sacred institutions. Bedroom eyes, they call them in a bygone day.
Hey, Emily, you got a boyfriend? Because my man E here, he just got his heart broken. He thinks you're kind of cute.
A girl's gotta have her standards. Oh, my.
Do women know about shrinkage?
Isn't it common knowledge?
What do you mean, like laundry? It shrinks?
Can we not talk about sex so much?
Are you kidding me?
Oh my God, it feels so good.
Being bad feels pretty good. But you know, Emily's not the kind of girl you just play with.
You're listening to Sex with Emily. We're talking about sex, relationships, and everything in between. For more information, go to sexwithemily.com. You can easily subscribe to the podcast. You can sign up for our mailing list and check out all of our awesome blogs. They're going to help you have better sex and relationships. Also, follow us on social media. Interact with us on social media, I should say. Don't just follow us. Let's get into a social media relationship. It's at Sex with Emily across the board. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. I love hearing from you. And I'm really excited for you guys to hear my interview with Scott Eastwood. He's an actor and a model. He's 32 years old, and he's the youngest son to Clint Eastwood. But he also has a new podcast, which I was a guest on, called Live Life Better with Scott Eastwood. Enjoy the show. All right, we're live, and I'm here with Scott Eastwood. He's my new friend. I'm on his podcast as well. He has a new podcast coming up, but we'll get to that in a minute. Scott's an actor and all these things, but first,
I broke the clitoris.
He broke the clitoris. I have a 3D clitoris here. Not to be concerned, because I do have another one.
I'm usually
but this
much
is
more gentle.
I hope so. What does this say about you as a lover, Scott?
I don't know.
How many clitorises have you left broken in your wake? Come on.
Left broken. That sounds like that could be a good thing or a bad thing.
I know.
Right?
I don't think you ever want to break a clitoris. Unless it was consensual.
Yeah.
Breaking. My question is, did you realize, because I'm being honest, I didn't know that the clitoris until I started studying this for a living, that this is like the bulb, right? But this is all goes on. This is like behind the labia. Like, so here's my vulva puppet. Okay. Like we're talking, this is just this, but this part goes on behind the labia, these little legs.
Yeah.
So this 8,000 nerve endings we talk about, it's all in here.
It's all in
clitoris.
There. Yeah.
Yeah, how about that?
This is the good stuff.
That's the good spot, but this is the clitoris, and then all the behind the labia, this is where the legs are. There's legs.
Legs.
Goes on for days.
Well, don't we all start out with a clitoris?
We start out with this. Yes, we do.
And then you either grow
if it's all working, yeah.
or not.
Exactly. Right? You see how it goes down. But yes, we all have the female energy in us. And a clitoris is very much can be treated as a shaft. You can stroke the shaft of the clitoris. Yeah.
There's a shaft. Where's the shaft?
The shaft is like right in here. Like, so here's like the shaft actually. This is the tip of it. Oh. This is the shaft right here. So when it gets swollen, like when you turn like a woman on with her clitoris and you start to rub it, there's like you can actually get granular with it, not just the touching.
I see.
I'm sure you know this already. Being a
what?
Being a sexy, smart man.
Not that smart.
Probably. I think you are smart. No. I listened to your podcast, and I was on your podcast, and I thought you were great at interviewing, really good interviewer. Like I was like, we went down, like it was like a 2-hour. I felt like I was there for a long time. Was not bored and very good questions.
Oh, well, thanks.
Yeah.
I had fun too.
Yeah, it was fun. But Live Life Better is your podcast.
Live life better.
And what are you doing now? Tell me about who is Scott Eastwood? Because all I know is, I'll tell you this. I Googled you, right? And it's like every article is like, Scott Eastwood living an adventurous life. When he's not living an adventurous life, Scott Eastwood is dressed for men. Yeah, he's taking a break from his adventurous life to have a real adventure.
It's kind of, I mean, it's true. I don't know why people like seem to write about that all the time. I just do it because I just like, being outdoors mostly. I don't know. I'm a really strong believer in we're so tunnel visioned in the society we live in that it's really easy for us just to be like me. What do we? What am I doing? What's next? What are we doing? And not live. The way we were designed to live. In tribes and small tribes to live outdoors.
Right.
To have good circadian rhythms where we sleep when it gets dark and we wake up when it gets light.
Right.
And that I always feel when I'm out in nature and when I'm out doing things or putting myself through any sort of adversity, right? Like I feel better. Yeah. I feel clear-headed. I'm not with my phone. I'm not with the bullshit. And I come back and I'm like reset.
Right.
So I don't know. I mean, that's just...
No, I get it. Like, it's so true. We are so taken away from everything that was once, living just, I think, the cell phones, technology. And you're right, being in nature. It's so... I was just in nature. Where was I this weekend? I don't even remember. I was in Vermont. Thank you. It was a very naturist place.
Oh, yeah.
I was there for teaching at a yoga festival.
You were teaching a yoga festival?
I wasn't teaching yoga, though. I was teaching sex. Wanderlust.
Sex and yoga.
Sex and yoga.
I have heard of, I've actually been to Wanderlust in Lake Tahoe.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I was there too last year.
Yeah.
Were you there last
great.
year? Oh, it's so fun. It's like, my friend's like, it should just be called 10,000 Hot Chicks in Yoga Pants. Because like literally like that's what's happening.
It's not a bad place.
Right?
It was a very, very great place.
Right. I'm sure, right? Did you have sex there? I did. I'll just tell you that I met some guy. I was supposed to leave my flight. I had a really hot time there.
Really?
I just kept,
Nice.
Yes.
There you go.
After I spoke, I was like, you're hot. I met him at the top of the mountain. At the chairlift, there's some party. It was closing. Anyway,
sounds very magical.
It was magical.
Yeah.
My flight got delayed, and he was hot, and I don't know.
Ben Affleck movie, like Sandra Bullock. I feel like was in that. It was you, her,
something like that.
Running through rain, or there's something.
Listen, Scott, I have an adventurous life too. Okay,
Yeah,
I'm just
that's it.
saying they might not
Adventurous
write
sex
about it all
life.
the time, but no. But it was a fun time, and so I was there, and I was like, oh, I've never in nature. Like very rarely, I live in West Hollywood, or I live a few blocks, West Hollywood, kind of ish, and it's like. Just being there and hiking and you're outside for like 10, 15 minutes. And I grew up in San Francisco. I was there mostly. It's like, I miss it. We don't get that here. So you're right.
Yeah.
When you're in nature, you're challenging yourself, you're out doing things. And also you're really doing things like the podcast. Like you're interviewing like interesting people. Some guy I went on a date with, Adam Galizzi.
You went on a date with him?
I did. So I saw it. Yeah, I did like 10 years ago.
No ways.
Yeah.
How did the date go?
Well, apparently I just went out with him once. So I don't think there was like a love connection, but he's genius. He's doing really well. Yeah. So,
very cool stuff he's doing.
Yeah, really cool. I mean, so every time I listened to it, I was like, and it was really well done. So I'm just saying that your podcast was, the one I was on was particularly well done, which I haven't heard yet.
Of course.
But I thought it was just really interesting what he's talking about, how they're looking for alternative methods to everyone just being on goddamn meds. And using virtual reality.
Off,
I know.
It's so bad. And, since this is a sex podcast, right?
Yeah, baby.
What are prescription drugs doing to people's
Killing
sex
their
lives?
sex life.
Right?
1 in 4 women is on SSRI right now for antidepressants.
What is that?
An antidepressant. So they're on a
SSRI
SSRI is a serotonin reuptake inhibitor. What is it? The actual thing it stands for? Serotonin something. SSRI. It's an
For
antidepressant.
depression.
That's like Zoloft, Prozac, Celexa. There's like a bunch of them. And 1 in 4 women get put on. It's probably women are misdiagnosed, or maybe they have a little bit of depression, anxiety, or it's because they have like PMS. Who doesn't? Happens to us. And we're just over medicated. And it absolutely has direct impact. Like, guess what? You won't be depressed. You'll be really happy, but you won't have a sex drive. Kills it. And also blood pressure medications can affect men's ability to, for erections. So yes, there's a lot happening right now with
and then you got to take another pill to fix that.
Exactly.
Right?
Can't get it up. Got to keep it up. I feel down. Now I'm up, but my penis is down. It's a whole thing. You know what I'm saying? It's just not.
It's a whole thing.
I know.
Yeah.
So I feel like you're in this transition right now. I don't even know you that well, but I feel like, you know, you've had a successful career acting, modeling. You're like, there's a lot written about your looks. You're an attractive man. I don't want to. No, I don't want to like be that. But it's just pointing out. But you're like, I don't know. You're moving here, there. You're doing things. I don't know. You're doing podcast. You're doing things. You care. You have a heart, a big heart.
Yeah,
I think you're searching.
I'm just doing. Yeah, I'm a searcher. I'm a searcher.
Secret.
You know, and I want to evolve and be the best version of myself every day. So doing something like the podcast really was just, you know, hey, I want to meet more interesting people.
Right.
I want to expose myself to more interesting things and learn from people. And I said, well, what better way to do it? Because what happened was I went on Joe Rogan's podcast.
Oh.
And I got it because I listen to a lot of podcasts.
Okay.
And I said, wow, this is so cool. I said, I want to be exposed to all the guests he's exposed to, you know, because it's like a continued education.
Totally.
You know, and I went to college, I had a college degree, and I was like, but I haven't really been back to school in 15 years.
Right.
And I was like, wow, I don't really want to go sit in a classroom.
No.
So this is my classroom, right? I get it, and you know, invite cool new people. That's cool. We should talk about this, that. Right. You know, I got to interview you.
Yeah.
And, you know, just
do you prep for it, or do you just kind of?
I do prep for it. I try to. You know, I try to read. We're actually bringing on the author of The Female Brain.
Luann Brizadine.
Yes.
She's great. I've actually wanted her on my show for a while, and I just forgot about it. Like it was years ago.
We're I think I want to say this week I interviewed.
Reach out to her. She lives in San Francisco, James. I love her book. Did you read her book?
Yes.
It's so good.
So good.
It's like, oh, I get it. Like girls when they're like in 3 weeks old, they're so different than like little boys and little girls, and how we make social contact, eye contact. It's amazing.
It is.
I love that you have her on. You've really, and you had like Adam, my ex-boyfriend. Just kidding. I went out with him once. And you're really
make out. Was it good?
No, I don't remember if we made out. We met at a party. I feel like it was a Burning Man type thing in San Francisco because I used to live up there for a long time. And then, anyway, I don't remember what, but I'm happy he's doing great things. But yeah, him and you. I know like Tim Ferriss. You were saying you read. What was it? The Titans?
Tools of Titans.
Tools of Titans, yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to actually bring him on.
You should.
Because
he's cool.
He's been exposed to a lot of people, and like, what a cool book. And I think, you know, it's just for people who just want to learn things for you know, whatever capacity you want to learn something new.
What have you learned from the podcast that was most interesting that stuck out to you?
Oh, that's a good question. What have I learned?
What did you learn from me?
You know what I learned? I've learned, and I'm learning, and I'm continuing to learn, is how to have a conversation with someone and really listen.
Right.
That's what I'm learning.
It's not easy. Especially when you're podcasting, because you're like, what am I going to say next? Is this interesting?
Sure.
I actually cut people off sometimes, so I already apologize in advance if I do it. But I still, after 13 years, I thought I didn't anymore. Like, I thought I worked that through. And then Jamie said, well, it was really good. We did some podcast. Jamie, producer's like, it was good. You only cut him off twice. I'm like, I thought I stopped cutting people off. I don't really listen to the show after. Yeah. But anyway, it is a thing. But this is like one of my favorite. Actually, I'm already feeling this way with you, that we're just having a conversation. I'm not like, I'm just
like forcing it. Yeah. And, you know, look, everyone's going to be different. But I remember my father used to always say that. He used to say, are you listening, or are you just waiting for your turn to talk? Yeah. And I think we really notice it here in LA, right? So many people have an agenda to push, or want to tell you how great they are, or tell you what they're doing in their life, or it can be very narcissistic, right?
Yes.
But having a real conversation, like an authentic conversation, and really listening, thinking of, you know, that person, being empathetic to whatever they're talking about, asking more questions than maybe, you know, explaining you know, what you want to talk about.
And doing the whole, me too, that happened to me. Yeah. It's a practice. It's a skill. I love your dad. So your dad, Clint Eastwood, if people don't know.
Yeah.
Famous actor, one of the most famous actors of our time.
Yeah.
What's that like? That's been a whole thing probably. Having him as a dad. I know you get asked this a lot, but I just can't help it because, hey. So being like you're your own person. I know I did do my research. I read about you that you would go on interviews and you didn't want to use the Eastwood name. Like you want to, obviously I could see that being a thing. Like I don't want everyone to know I'm doing it on my own. And so.
Yeah, that was years ago. I was young. I was in my early 20s, and I was just trying to figure out who I was as a man. Figuring it out and trying to navigate Hollywood. I think people have an assumption that just because you are someone's kid or something that you suddenly like have all the keys to the kingdom, but like you're still an adolescent person.
You
right?
are right. No, I mean, I think it'd be hard.
Pay rent, how to go to school, how to go get a job, like all the normal things that people have to figure out.
Exactly. And you almost feel like it's probably worse because you're probably like, people are assuming that I should have all these things and be all these things, but I'm still like 20 years old trying to figure out how to do my laundry out of the house and whatever it is that you figure out. Yeah. So what about, did your dad, you guys are still tight? Obviously, your dad.
Yeah, he's 88. He just turned 88 years old.
That's amazing.
I know, 88 years ago, someone had sex and had him, right?
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. They were still having sex then.
They were having sex 88 years ago. That's good.
Did your dad teach you anything about sex? How did you learn about sex? Do you remember, you have a lot of kids in your family, big family. Was it school? When did you first remember learning about sex?
Older woman.
Really?
I was with an older woman.
And? She like seduced you, like a Miss Robinson thing?
I'm going to have to be careful with my words here.
Yeah. Or you could...
She was great. She was an older woman. And she was very kind and gentle.
Nice.
Yeah.
Unlike you and the clitoris here. She did not teach you about the clitoris.
Break the clitoris.
It was a broken clitoris. Yeah. We set you up there. But do you remember, I don't know, I didn't have great like sex education. Wait, back up. So you were saying that was the first someone you were with, perhaps.
Yeah.
It's good to have an older lover, I think.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Great. I mean, you don't know, when you're a kid, you don't know anything, right?
No, and when you're not a kid, you don't know anything. You know how many men don't know anything? And women.
Right,
nothing. I know.
Yeah.
Do you have any sex questions for me? You were so good when I was on your show asking so many questions, but I feel like...
This is your show.
In particular? No, but
You're interviewing me.
Do you have any questions? I don't know. Sex.
Well, we were talking earlier before about, you were saying no one uses condoms anymore.
Yes. Well, now that's something we should add up. They're not. I don't understand why people are not using condoms, because I think that people assume like they don't have to worry anymore because they got the vaccines, or they don't have to worry.
Wait, what's the vaccine?
They got
There's a vaccine.
They got the oh my god, what? Sorry, I'm thinking in my head. I feel like I'm hungover too, but I'm not. The HPV vaccine that you're supposed to get before you're 28 years old.
Really?
A lot of kids get it and they don't. You probably got it, I would think.
I would hope so.
Yeah. So anyway, you're not. Why don't you use condoms? You tell me.
Well, no. Whoa. I didn't say that.
No,
That's
I think that people are worried.
I
know. Didn't your older lover? No, I just think that it's I think that there's not this immediate like, oh, we're going to get AIDS, we're going to get STDs. That it's just kind of like, maybe she's on the pill, we don't have to worry about it. And I think it's still awkward. And there's still this notion that sex isn't as good.
Awkward, right?
But they're not. They don't have to be if you use the right one.
Well,
STDs are real. You can't tell anything at the time. It's a real thing.
STDs are real.
Is it more awkward to be like, I have herpes, or this condom's awkward in the moment? And I think that people don't know, like, I love skin condoms. I'm going to give you a parting gift in case you decide to use condoms one day. I'm sure you do. But they're non-latex. They're polyisoprene, meaning that they're non-latex. So latex can be like uncomfortable, it can be too tight. And I think a lot of men wear condoms that are ill-fitting. And every condom fits differently.
Why do you think they're
too
sizing
tight
up?
Maybe they're like, I'll take the king condoms, or I'll take the extra large. Yeah, they're sizing up or they're sizing down. Oh yeah. So they don't know it, not on purpose. No man's gonna be like, I'll take the small one just to be safe.
Blood circulation.
Exactly. And then they're like, oh, it's really uncomfortable. I can't feel anything. Well, maybe because you're cutting off your circulation. So I just think that's kind of what's happening now.
Well, what's going on? I think we might have touched on it before. What's going on with the advancements in the male birth control sector? I
wish that it was advancing faster, but there was something that came out recently that said that they're testing it again. Like initially when it came out, men are like, oh God, I might get cramps and have headaches. I'm not going to do that. Let's have the women take it. And so now I think the same thing came out again, and they're like, oh, okay, same thing. It's still out there for debate, but men could actually, I think now there's a resurgence in it that it could actually happen, that there is a pill that men take. And all it would mean is like, your sperm, that you're going to be able to ejaculate, but your sperm count would be like lower, and you would be able to get someone pregnant. Like and you guys are losing so many loads a day, it doesn't even matter. But for women, we're taking the pill, it's messing up our reproductive systems and stuff like that. So yeah, would you take a pill?
Yeah, I mean, I think I would. Yeah, I mean, it's hard, I guess, to answer that because I've never felt. I feel for you women, right? I have 5 sisters, so I have seen the emotional mood swings. I've seen what it does. You know,
It's real.
You know, it's real. It's like, okay, but it's also, you know, it's like, okay.
What? But we're
Well,
the ones
if you're gonna have a lover, right, and you're gonna be in a relationship with someone, and you're not gonna be taking that precaution, then
Right.
you know, then you're gonna probably, you know what they
Oh,
say,
baby.
they call people who use the pull
pull-out
out method, right?
Yeah. What do they call it?
Parents.
It's true. If you time it though, on the app, you can time it, but no, it's not good. It's best to use condoms, but they do call them parents. Are
They
you
are
dating
parents.
now? What's it like dating here in LA?
I don't date here in LA. I don't live in LA. I live
Right.
I live in Texas actually.
That just happened though 5 minutes ago.
I've been there for longer than
Okay,
I've been there for almost a year.
What's it just like dating? Like, what are you looking for?
What am I looking for?
I don't know, yeah.
You know, I think timing has to do with a lot of it. I've been so focused on work and, you know, making movies, and the work I'm in, like you travel all over the world. It's hard to have something consistent. And I think also, you know, I don't even know if I'm ready to be in
Good for you for knowing that.
You know?
I think a lot of people aren't. You're 32.
32.
Like what? I mean, yeah, you don't even have to be ready. No one has to be ready.
Here's the
until they're
thing.
ready.
Here's the thing. So you can, you know, like there's two sides to being single or to being in a relationship, right? You are, it can be lonely at times, right? Everyone can get lonely.
Yeah, for sure.
But it also can be very freeing because you can do whatever the hell you want.
Exactly.
You know, with
I
whoever
love it.
you want.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of men sometimes, or men and women, they get maybe lonely, but they may not be ready yet to settle down.
Right.
So then they're caught in this like weird timing. Timing's like, I think
timing
huge.
is, it is huge. I love that you know that you're not ready yet too,
Yeah.
because I get that. Like there's a certain like, it's hard to do it all. So if you're working in your career and you're doing a lot of different things, or your friends, or your lifestyle, or moving, you know, it's okay to date. And just the most important thing is to be honest with people you're dating and say like, all right, now I'm not looking for anything. And I think that people are more open to that now. That I think it used to be like you just date and then we're together. Like we date 2 dates, it must mean that we're committed. But I just think a lot of times we don't see that there's other options, how to casually date.
Yeah,
And how to
it
just
seems the world has changed, right? The like popular opinion about dating is totally fine. Whereas, you know, maybe 50 years ago it would have been like, well, what do you mean? Why aren't you married? Why aren't you know? And I'm sure there's still places like that.
Right. What does your dad want for you?
Well, he's just dating right now too.
Is he? Love
He's not married or anything. So
Right.
you know, maybe I don't know. Maybe I'll be 88 and still dating. I don't know.
What's your biggest turnoff? Like if you're out with someone, or like you don't do the apps, right? Have you done the apps?
No, I've
okay.
never been on a dating app.
Okay. What would be something if you're on a date with someone, like, gosh, she was so hot, I saw her, then you went out. Like, what could be something that you'd be like, oh no, I'm out?
Entitled, bratty, not considerate, not grateful. That, like, for me, immediately ruins it all.
Right.
No matter how beautiful or how sexy or, you know, any of the aesthetics or the pheromones that are happening, if I notice a lack in character, I am done. I'm like, nope.
What would that
I'm
look
out.
like? Right. Give me an example.
Well, I did bail one time.
Ooh,
I
okay.
did. This is a good story.
Okay.
I did bail one time. I went on the worst date I've ever been on. This was years ago. And I remember halfway through, I think it was actually here in Santa Monica.
Okay.
I remember going to, I think it was like El Cholo or something. It was a Mexican restaurant. And at the time, she was so entitled, so
What do you mean
terrible.
entitled? Like she was like, I'm
Just-
beautiful, I'm smart, I have everything.
Yeah,
Okay.
just telling me how great she was. And about halfway through the meal, I realized that this was not a person that I wanted in my life. She was toxic. And I just said, I gotta go use the restroom. And I just
No. You
never
just
came
left?
back.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you were done.
I was done.
Yeah, no, I get it. I want to do that. I've been out of a date in record time, like in 14 minutes or less.
Ooh.
But you just
How does that go, though? If you don't, do you just say, hey, listen.
yeah. I was
It's
like, you know
not
what?
gonna
Yeah,
happen.
this isn't happening. I'm so impatient. I was like, I just feel this isn't going to be a thing. Let's leave. Let's not waste anyone's time. And something else was going on in my life where I was like, I can't even fake this right now. I know I'll never see this person again, and I am out.
So when I left, you know, obviously she figured out I left,
Yeah,
right?
right.
And she proceeded to psychodial me. And then, so she had, I don't remember if we'd taken 2 cars or whatever, but she had met me at a buddy's house before we had gone to this restaurant. And so she had gone back to my friend's house and she started pounding on the door. And I wasn't there.
Right. You did the right thing.
My friend had
the
to deal with
pounding,
her.
right?
Yeah, I mean, psycho. She was obviously unhinged, to say the least.
Yeah. Okay. So what about for you in sex? Because let's just move into sex. I'm curious. Like for you, what makes really good sex?
Pheromones.
Like having the chemistry.
Yeah,
I
think that like goes without saying. Like everything from the meeting of somebody, not just the sex. Like it all starts with pheromones, and I think they're really important. I think they're happening like subconsciously. You know, when you look at someone and you like get that captivated, feeling, mm-hmm. I think that the smells are happening. Like they say, smell is
scent is big. Yes, all the senses.
Right?
Yep.
And I think that there's something like that's like really primal, and that turns into good sex. That turns into good a good relationship or a very fire. Could be maybe fire, maybe not a good relationship.
It could be a good night, a really good night. Yeah. So do you mean like in the second you meet someone and the scent? Are you talking about like the chemistry or the scent? Like you actually like have.
Yeah, I don't think so. That's what I'm saying. Like sometimes I think it happens subconsciously. You don't even really smell them,
right?
Yet, like you're just sort of drawn to them, and you're like, well, why am I drawn to that person? But I think it's pheromones. That's my theory, anyways.
Okay, yeah, that's a good theory. I think it's more like chemistry, because that makes good sex. Okay. Let me ask you this.
Okay.
I want to see what you think about this.
Talk to me.
Scott Eastwood.
Oh, yeah.
So there's a study that came out that women are pickier than men on dating apps from age 18 to 30, but men are pickier after age 40. So online dating has saturated us with choice, enabling us to actively seek out those who correspond even with our most niche desires. Women are picky in their peak fertility years, 18 to 30, and men are not as picky in women. So what do you think about this?
Well, I think it's interesting why Bumble's so successful right now, because that's that was a spinoff, right?
Right.
And I got to know actually the woman who started it, Whitney, and she's a really nice gal.
Yeah.
And it's interesting, right, that women want to have the control of, no, I don't want a bunch of people.
Right.
If I want to respond to you, then great, we can have a conversation. And so maybe, I don't know, maybe then there's a space for a dating app for men, because you're saying men get pickier in their later years,
right? Maybe there is. I think that the Bumble thing is more about men. I don't know why. Maybe there's I've had my kids and I don't know why, or I'm divorced. But I think that most of the apps, the men are the ones who are usually making the first move. So Bumble was pretty smart because women were able to make the first move on it. But I didn't like it. I just tried it for work.
Wait, did you not like it because you didn't like to be the one making the first move?
No, I just don't like the apps at all because they work for everyone. You should try them. If you really want to meet someone, you should date on apps and you should talk to everyone you know about dating. And that's for me. I'm just I get a million messages and the follow through. It's another text. It's another thing to do. I really like to meet someone in person. Everyone I've dated, I've met IRL.
I'm the old school way as well. You got to have that connection. There's so many subtleties in conversation.
Right. And then you don't know from a text. I have friends who he goes on 10 dates a week. Super handsome guy, actually an ex-boyfriend of mine. We're very good friends now. And he's he takes notes after every date. He's super great.
Notes?
He takes these freaking notes. I should read them to you.
What
I know.
kind of world are we in?
I wish they were sexist, but they're not. He's this happened and that. I know. And he's liked her. Her mom does. Her mom teaches yoga.
That's like a journal. That's like a journal. I thought we were talking about
no sex. But then there was one. He was that was fun. Dinner was great, and she gave me a blowjob. I'm that's it. What shouldn't you have led with the blowjob?
No, that
could be a journal. But he's tracking it. He's it's his date.
Well, that's good. Imagine in 20 years he'll be oh yeah, on September 4th I got a blowjob.
But exactly.
It's nice.
That was nice. It's been 30 years. But the thing is, he's so tracking it that no, I know. Hopefully blowjobs come and go.
Yeah. Hopefully those don't go out of style, right?
No, I hope that they don't. People were even giving blowjobs 50 years ago, though.
You don't think so?
Kinsey, no, with Kinsey, it had to be a whole thing when Kinsey started doing 50 years ago when Alfred Kinsey started the whole Kinsey Institute in Indiana. That's really when couples like, oh, like oral sex, and it became a thing.
Really? That's how it
thank
started.
God, paved the way. People were doing it, but it wasn't as much of like
popular culture.
Yeah, and it was kind of judged. It was like if you gave a blowjob, you were more, I don't know what. Like you should just. It comes down a lot of it to our culture, our religion, that
Why?
Just supposed to have sex for procreation, whatever people believed then. But they're like, oh, oral sex, what a good time that is. Thank God we discovered it.
Why? Speaking of our culture, and you sprung that like into my mind. Why is it seem like there is such a mean culture when it comes to women and sex? Men are totally exempt, right? Look here, if you're a man and you sleep with multiple women and you're a cool guy, you're a stud, right? If you're a woman, and I feel like the women do it more to women than men do it to women.
Right.
They label and they call names and they shame them.
Yeah.
You're like, what? Why are you doing that? Like, it's like terrible for your like.
Right. It is terrible. I think that women do a lot of the shaming, but what I'm hearing from. So do you feel like you're hearing other women talk about women to you?
I know I see it happen.
Right.
With young women, and I hear them make the comment, and I always go, why are you doing that? Like, why are you judging that person?
I know.
Because so what, they want to have sex with that dude. So what, they want to
exactly.
Like, why would you do that? And you're just you're making a weird cycle for you guys, where then it's like a shameful thing, or it's weird.
It's very unhealthy, and I think that I'm so against. I really don't speak negatively about anybody. I'm not like a critical. I'm not part of that whole mentality, at least around here. We're not. But I know that women can be the worst enemies to other women.
Yeah.
And they're gossiping. And we could actually go into this email. We had an email. You're going to actually help me give advice to listeners.
Okay.
But what I want to say is that I do think there is a certain amount of women judging other women. But the thing is, and that's evil, and I don't know why. And I think it's because obviously the reason why we judge anybody is because we kind of don't want to look at ourselves, and it makes us feel better, maybe to kind of trash someone else. But there is a certain notion, though, that men are like, and I've actually never heard a guy say this to me when I've asked on the show or in life, that they're going to judge a woman, well, if she's had too many partners.
I know.
I'm not going to sleep with her.
What? I know.
If anything, she has more experience. Not that you should judge at anything, but I think that's this whole catch-22. And
I've always been of that school of thought that why would it matter what number is what? That's just silly. That's
it is silly.
Absolutely
do you hear women
silly.
doing this about other women, not just about sex, but about a lot of different things?
Ooh, good question. I mean, I think people inherently they call it the human stain, where people point and they go, look at that, look at that, look at that person. They're so much shittier than I am. Makes them feel more validated or better. And I don't know what that is or what defect we have that we have to do that.
Well, I think it's because we want to deflect our own insecurities. And it's like why we love reality TV and why we like tabloid journalism, because we don't have to look at ourselves. We can all just like talk about whoever, the Kardashians, and get obsessed with their crazy life. Or we think either they're aspirational or they make us, we want that, or we just think, oh my God, at least I'm not that kind of a train wreck. But I think these days we have to just be there for each other. It's on love. Yeah,
it's weird. Like it's so weird. We were talking about this earlier today, and it's so weird when you think about, and I don't know if it's because we don't live in small tribes and because we're in such a big world, we feel separated by cultures and boundaries. But we have this really weird way of being really mean to other humans.
Yeah, I know.
And for me, it's like every day I wake up and I go, okay, well, everybody else has got to wake up, put on their shoes, go to work, feed their families. Like we all have to go through the same shit, right? Some people more than others, right?
For sure.
And some people have it tougher than this matrix. Some people have it way easier, and no matter what level you're at. And it's mind-blowing to me that no matter what, that we just are still like so cruel
No, I know.
to people.
I know. And you hear it every day. Just all the things that we're seeing and on the news every day. I don't understand it. I don't understand. How do we universally teach self-love? And that everyone's fighting a battle. You know, I love, it's kind of what you're saying, that quote, everyone's fighting a battle of their own. Like, you don't know what people are going through in the moment. So just be kind. Be kind because everyone's fighting their own battle. And it's true. No one's life is perfect. People could look at so many people's lives and we do that to others when we're like, oh, they have so much, I don't have anything. Or, you know, and it's our thought. It's the way we interpret. It's a moment to moment giving yourself a check on your own thoughts, being grateful, waking up, meditating, whatever you do, and resetting. And just, you know, the more you give, the more you get. When I find I'm going through these periods of being kind of, you know, sad or being negative about things, you know, usually it's just internal, my own stuff. But the second I can lift myself out of that, however I do, if it could just be a thought pattern or breathing. And I do a lot of breath work and meditation. It just helps bring me back to my body. And then nothing matters but that present moment. Then you realize that there's so much more space and you want to give and you want to connect and you want to be there for other people. But when you're so caught up in this loop in your head of your lack, why you don't have things, and you open up and you connect to others, you're like, we're all in the same place. And think about such hippie stuff, but it's so true.
Think about all the time when you add up all the time that you, if you spend about these like weird psychotic loops we get in, think about all the time you could do something creative with that time, right?
Right.
And I find, like you said, like whatever the reset is, right? Like working out, stressing the body, creating adversity for yourself, right? So you can come clear-headed and go, okay, cool. Like, what was
That's
I?
what you mean by the adversity, like working out or disrupting the pattern.
Any adversity. I think adversity is when we get comfortable, when we get, you know, in our comfort zone. It's not good.
It's true. And find what works for you, because it's not all sitting in an office every day, 9 to 5. Like, you got to get up, you got to walk around, you got to move.
Yep.
And I think it's so true what you said now about how we're not meant to be separated from, you know, our community. Like, I don't know my neighbors. You know, that whole thing of like we don't have our families around and we isolate. And I think we're lonely. Like, we're a lonely culture, and we get in our heads. And even the human brain, like learning how to regulate thoughts and emotions, that's a fairly new practice in the sense of like, before we couldn't even have thoughts. Humans didn't, you know, our ancestors, let's say. So it's like we really don't know how to regulate. And what I try to do is I've known this for a long time. This whole thing about like your thoughts are not real. Most times they're stories you're telling yourself, and to breathe and get out of the moment. And most of the time we're wrong, by the way. Like, most of the things that you're obsessing about someone else or what someone thinks of you, people are so consumed with their own stuff that they're probably not even upset about it. But I was driving back from somewhere, and I was like, it went really well, and then I got tripped on something that I'd said, and I started looping on it, and I was like, okay, it's been 20 minutes or 10 minutes, and what I'm doing now, and it's working, so I'm going to tell everybody so you can kind of like practice this, is that I try to focus on all the senses. So when I'm driving, I'm like, okay, touch. My hands are on the steering wheel, and I feel like my ass on the seat of the car. Got that. Okay, sound. I'm listening to music, or I'm listening. And if I'm listening to thoughts in my head and they're louder than the music, then I breathe really deep. And I'm like, okay, now I'm hearing my breath. What am I tasting? Okay, I'm tasting like this coffee that I'm drinking. Scent, like I'm smelling the, you know, whatever I'm driving past, this, you know, the In-N-Out burger on the highway. And with the second you are like, do the loop, or you do a check of the, you know, sight, sense, taste, smell, all the senses, touch. There's nothing else that exists in that moment but the present. Like, all I am is I'm present, I'm driving, I'm listening, I'm sensing, and then the thought's gone. And I breathe into it, and it like doesn't come back. And then you realize that all this stuff about the present moment, and people are like, oh, just be present. You're like, fuck you, I got this up. What about yesterday? What about tomorrow? That's really all we have. And that's helping me reset lately.
Life is really short.
And sex is good to do that too. If people's mind wander during sex, do the senses.
If your mind wanders during sex?
Yeah.
What if it wanders to a sexy place, like a cool, different place?
That's awesome. That's awesome. But some people
what?
Their mind wanders to like, does he notice I gave 5 pounds? Does she think my penis is small? You probably don't have these thoughts. Some do. Anyway, what were you saying? Life's too short. Yeah, so we got to just be.
Life's too short. Life can switch on a dime. I mean, my friend found out his mom had cancer today, and it's like so quick that life can smack you upside the head, and it can all of a sudden get so real so quick. And yeah, I mean, I like that idea that checking back in with your senses, checking back in, remembering the thoughts you have are just sometimes a crazy amalgamation of crap that's going on in your life that doesn't really exist. It's not really real.
It's not real. All that is real at this moment, and I'm sitting across from Scott Eastwood having conversation, and nothing else matters. That's why I love podcasting too, because I feel like it's the most focus. I don't know. I can just be focused and real, and it's a real connection. Like nothing else is like matters that we can have a conversation. And you're sitting here, and I love that. Do you want to help me answer some emails?
Let's do
from
it.
the people. Okay. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to get into your emails. Thank you for supporting our sponsors, and I love you all. Breath is so fucking important.
So important. I took a breath class. It was really great, actually. I was shooting this movie in Toronto, and they had a professional free diver who gives these breath seminars all over the world. And he came, I had to do this water scene, and we breathed. We did 3 or 4 different sessions, I want to say. And within the second session, I was holding my breath static for 4+ minutes, 4:20 or something. And
was it the Wim Hof?
It wasn't the Wim Hof, but what was the most interesting I found, outside of learning how you can change the chemistry of your body, and you can really sort of understand how to do that better. The most interesting thing that I found from it is how you can regulate anxiety.
Yes.
And especially living in a big city, right? Where are we right now? We're in the middle of Los Angeles, and it's like just relentless, rah, 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 always coming and grinding, and never ends.
So true.
And I had to do this today. I was running into Whole Foods. I was sort of running late, was waiting in line, and I just found myself having a little anxiety, look at the clock. I was in line, and I just said, go back to really slow, controlled, deep breathing, like 10-second breaths, not like it's an inhale.
10-second inhale. Yes, it's everything. We are so, right.
Yeah, starting from the bottom all the way up in the middle chest, into the upper chest. And it just, I had to do that a couple times, and all of a sudden I didn't care that I was in line. I didn't care that I was a little late. Life goes on.
Yeah, and you were fine if you were being late here. I know. It's the same thing with the breath and the senses. This is what I do during at the Wanderlust, the retreat. I did it today too. It helps with anxiety because I get anxious. I think we all do a little bit. Yeah, breath has been amazing. And you could do whatever kind. Like I did this one where it was 2 in through your mouth and 2 out through your mouth. And it just, whatever it is, or the longer inhales, because here's why. Here's why breath is so important when it comes to sex as well. A lot of us hold our breath during sex, especially women.
Oh, yeah.
And men can when we get anxious. Yeah. But the first thing we do, and for women, the first thing we do is we'll clench our pelvic floor. We'll our vaginas, our vulvas. We hold it. And then women wonder why they're not turned, because a lot of women don't think about sex. They don't have orgasm. They're not turned on for sex. And so when you just have that practice, you realize the first few times you do it, it's hard to do the 10-second in and out. That's like a practice. But when you do it, you're it changes your whole chemistry. I got it.
That's interesting that you say that.
You don't need Xanax.
You do not need Xanax. No. So many people. We all suffer through some sort of anxiety.
Jamie doesn't. Jamie's pre-anxiety one day. She was like, oh, which is why she's good for me because I'm anxious. Producer, but she was like, I think I'm getting pre-anxious about something you said. I'm like, just pre-anxious? And then we diffused it. Let's get into emails. And thanks for all the breaths. This is good. I'm fucking ready for the weekend and chilling here. Yeah. Scott Eastwood.
Ready for some breathing.
For breathing and sex. Okay, guys, I love answering your questions, receiving your emails. It's awesome. If you want a question you want me answered on the show, you can text Ask Emily, all one word, to 797979. Or go to sexwithemily.com, click Ask Emily tab, include your name, your age, where you live, and how you listen to the show. Okay, this is from Spencer, 35, Colorado. I thought you'd be able to help me with these because you're a smart, real man. Emily, the show is great and completely satisfies my never-ending curiosity about everything sex-related. Thank you. I'm recently divorced, 1.5 years since the relationship ended, and getting back to dating. It's been fun, but I don't really know what women want anymore, which is a blast trying to figure it out, especially with younger women. The last times I've had sex since a divorce, I'm really having a hard time climaxing. I can't tell if it's an emotional block, if the women aren't sexing the way I found attractive, or if there's too much porn/masturbation going on. I masturbate once per day typically, Takes about 3 minutes with a hot porn video and boom, done. Feel good, move on. But with women, I'm having a hard time. No pun intended. What's your advice? Okay, so Spencer, I think, so he's saying here he's recently divorced, hard time getting into dating. I think that after you're used to being with someone during divorce, it can definitely be challenging to be intimate with other people. Like if it's a new thing, so just go easy on yourself.
Yeah.
And
it can be really, I find that it's, anytime you break up, you have, your mind only goes back to the good things.
Yes.
Right? So then you get caught up and then you start, you're out and then, if you're not meeting quality people,
right,
then you're like, oh, they're nothing like this person,
right,
and you're not remembering the problems that maybe the relationship had. You're just sort of focusing on them.
Yeah, it's so true. I call that euphoric recall. Like it's like you put your ex on a pedestal. It's like they're your ex for a reason. You broke up with this person because there was probably a lot of reasons why they weren't great, but we only remember the good things and the great sex. And that's because or if it was great sex. And that's because I think intimacy, when you get intimate with someone, you have that real connection. You just sort of, you could see a hot chick or a hot guy at a bar, but you're missing that thing, that intimacy. So I think that's what it is more so than someone else. So it can be challenging. And the porn, I don't know. What's your thoughts on porn? You vote yes?
I think we spoke about this on my podcast. I think, you're right. I think it's kind of a double-edged sword. Porn's great. Porn is sexy and,
right,
it's cool. But I think it can also be a little overused, maybe overstimulated.
Right.
If you're, maybe if this man would lay off the porn a little bit, then maybe he would be a little bit more turned on.
That's what I was going to say. You got to moderate it. So it's like everything. I'm never going to tell you guys, don't watch porn or don't do anything. As long as it's moderation, I think it's cool. But if you feel like you're watching too much porn, Spencer, try to do the old fashioned way, or try to start with porn, or maybe not, try to not start with porn. Try to get as far as you can and then turn the porn on, or just like see how far you can go, like using your imagination and thinking about things. Because once you remove that obstacle, I think that you'll find that you'll be able to reconnect. And again, a lot of this disconnection and that we're talking about, the reason why you're with someone it's not happening is you might not be as connected to yourself either. So you're saying they're not sexing a way you find attractive. You're probably just looking for some kind of intimate connection with them. And I love the whole like looking in someone's eyes and breathing with them and just finding some kind of connection to get you out of your head and wherever you're going. But also, if you just got out of a relationship, just go easy on yourself too. I think people think they should be a certain place when they're not, and it can take a while to heal from an ex. Like,
yeah,
I just think,
what do they say? They say like half the time, right?
Half the relationship. I think it's true. Yeah, right. It can take so give yourself a break here. Okay, I've got another email for you to answer with me. Okay. Oh, but the other thing I want to say here is going back to dating younger women. Scott, do you find that there's a certain way that I'm assuming you're having sex with women, that it's changed in the recent years, or there's a certain way that have you been with women and had the experience that it feels like they're not moving authentically to a way that feels good to them, but maybe it's something they saw in porn?
Yeah, sure. Or just something in pop culture, right?
Right, exactly.
I mean, it's amazing the influence things have on young women before they sort of understand who they are as a woman,
right?
And you see that you see the like indicative in the behavior.
Yeah,
men and women,
True.
Men and women.
Right? No, it's true. It's men, and I'm hearing it from both sides, all sides.
But specifically porn,
I don't know. I just
maybe. I mean, it's very
just curious if that can. It's positive.
No, possible.
It's possible.
Probably
okay. Something to think about now.
Positive too.
Think about it. Yeah, it could be. But I think what I've heard from guys are like, why is it? And I hear this from women too, that they're acting like they're saying like, oh yeah, spank me or choke me or do certain things that don't seem congruent to what's happening in the moment and what they really want. They're kind of like reciting a script.
Yeah.
Like this is how you have sex. Because we don't have sex education, which we do not. And all you're seeing is porn. That's the first thing you've ever seen. You would think that that's how you have sex.
Do you? What do you find? What's the difference in sex education here versus? Do you know what the sex education is like in, like, say, Europe?
Yes, that's a really good question. Well, the Netherlands is the only place that I can cite that is doing it right, because in the Netherlands they teach about safe sex and they teach about STDs, but they also talk about pleasure and masturbation. And I think that's what we're missing, that we don't teach kids about pleasure, their bodies, and masturbation. Like, I know that a lot of women, I didn't know how to masturbate. Like, it didn't occur to me as a kid. So I think that the Netherlands is always being held up as the one place that's doing it right. So we should do
Probably
that.
have some good sex out there.
Yeah, exactly. Like a girl have an orgasm, her mom be like, how was it? Did you use a condom? Did you have an orgasm? Like, congratulations. Could you imagine parents here? Like, it doesn't happen. Congratulations, honey. We'll take you out to ice cream.
Way too
I know. No one wants to talk to their parents about sex either, so that's a whole other thing. Okay, we've got another email from Sarah, 25 in Florida. Hi, new listener, but loved you on the Caitlin Bristow's podcast. I decided to listen to Casual Sex as my first episode and wanted to address something and ask your thoughts on it as well. This is what we were talking about earlier, Scott. When your friend said that girls are more often, I had a friend on the show during that show, and she said, when your friend said that girls are more often than not the ones who bash each other for sex and that it's generally not men, I'm not sure I agree with that. I think, yes, girls are mostly the ones who bash each other publicly, but I think guys aren't as comfortable with someone who sleep around but just don't announce it. So when I look at my guy friends dating, it's normally girls who've only had sex with a handful of guys. Maybe it's because I live in the South, which I think is true. But what are your thoughts on this? Do guys judge but just not say it? So she's saying she hears that girls are bashing, but she doesn't agree. But she thinks the men are like, yeah, she's a whore, or whatever guys are saying. So she wants to know about that.
I think she's right. It's regional.
Yeah,
I would imagine there's factors of that too. But I also think that, fuck people who are bashing, and place value in that. Like, oh, I'm only going to have a girlfriend who's had, X amount of sexual partners. Like, I mean, fuck them.
I know. It comes from such a, I don't know, it comes from culture, religion, just from where you grew up, that you think that people, I just wish I could just kind of get this out of everyone's head, that whatever you believe to be true about what makes someone a great lover or a great partner, because they've had a certain amount of a great person,
right?
exactly.
Isn't that the most important
thing? That is the most important
thing.
thing.
You could have sex with 500 people, 10,000, who cares? It doesn't matter.
Do they have your back? Do they have your,
They ride or die with you.
Right, ride or die.
You want to hang out with some chick who's, sex with 5 guys and she's, a terrible person and shallow.
Exactly.
And fuck that. I'll put my values in the one who's, screwed the whole football team.
Exactly. Right. She's like really sweet to you and like, whatever that means to you, takes care of you. Some guys do judge. I definitely have heard that. But these are not the guys you want to be with, Sarah. Exactly. These are not the guys that you want to be with, nor are these the women that you want to be hanging out with if they are bashing each other. There was a survey done by Skin Condoms, we love Skin Condoms, that did not find that women were more judgy on other women than men were. So I just think it also be who you hang out with. I think there's mean girls. I think there's mean guys. And I really think the most important thing is to not gossip and not talk about this stuff anyway. So what I've learned to do, and I've been doing this for years, but to me, it's toxic. If I hear someone gossiping about someone, or even just like, can you believe she did that? It's almost like it jolts me. Like I can't tolerate that kind of stuff. And I know she's young in the South. So Sarah, just keep holding on to what you feel is true. And you don't want to hang out with the guys that you even heard are saying this, or the women who are being bitchy, and lead the charge here. Don't say bitchy things about your friends.
Drop the dead weight, clear the slate. Like as I get older, that's the one thing I love doing. Just cleaning house of people that I don't need in my life. Mm-hmm. It's like, I don't need 1,000 friends.
No.
I don't need all that shit anymore. I'm great. I got a great group of friends, and it's great to just
It's true. You got to keep, you're right.
Chop and block.
Look at the shoulds. Like, I don't think there should be any shoulds. Like, when I had a birthday party this year, I was like, I don't want any shoulds. Like, and I started to do this a few years ago. I was like, if I should, I want to, there's no should just because I've been friends forever. No, that's not a reason to actually have someone in your life. Or, oh, well, they invite me to my party. No, and the people who are weighing you down and their toxic energy, cut. I agree. And then the second you do that, once you let anything go in your life, you are making space for something new to come in. So if you're letting go of toxic people, you're going to find the people that are more you're aligned with who you are.
Toxic. Ugh.
I know.
I was just actually thinking about this toxic girl my buddy dates. She's so toxic. Oh, just because we're talking about toxic people.
Yeah, let's do it.
I'm like, she is so toxic.
Explain to me.
Let's see. I mean, obsessed with social media. Ugh. That's where it all, like, I would say, starts. Doesn't, it's really interesting because I'll tell you a story. She's one of those people who are just obsessed with finding out what's going on in his phone.
Oh, she took his phone, the old phone.
Yeah,
Okay.
the old phone thing. And it's really interesting to see, like, I know I've been in toxic relationships before, and my friends see it as clear as day. And then when you're in it, sometimes you could just be cold blinded by the light.
Oh, yeah.
And
By those pheromones.
I'm like, man, the sex must be good, right?
Yeah, like how
it
you
must be. I mean, it must be really
Right.
good if you're sticking around for this bullshit.
Right. Right. No, it's true, right? Did you ever? And you can't.
I don't know where I was going with
and
that,
you can't.
but-
But you can't tell them though. You can't be like your girlfriend is just sucks. Can you?
Yeah, it sucks. That's a good one. Like, I've been dealing with this recently, and I'm like thinking, like, can I say certain things that I've heard her say to other people? Can I repeat that stuff back? Do you do that?
No. Okay, that's a really good question. I don't think that it's good to be like the hearsay or everyone else says thing to your partner, to your boyfriend, to your male friend.
Yeah.
But what I think is good to say, like, I don't
not
know
my
if guys
boyfriend.
talk about this.
Definitely
Your
not my
male friend, your buddy.
My buddy.
But what I think it is, and I hope that guys are getting better at this because I know girls do it, women do it, but just to be like, buddy, I care about you. We're good friends. And I just feel like when you're with her, you just seem like you're a little more on edge, or I'm just not sure she has your best interest at heart. And I know that to bring in other collaborators, it makes it seem like you're the one who's out there gathering the information. And just to be like, I care about you. Like, can guys say that shit to each other?
Yeah. No, I mean, definitely we can. And we've had to say things before, for sure. But it is a weird situation. Like, if he, if a buddy's like totally head over heels for a chick, right? And then you kind of are getting in between that, and then they resent you, or then what are they gonna do, right? If you tell your buddy,
Right.
that this chick said this or did that, or you're gonna like triangulate the
true.
thing, right? Then he's gonna probably address it with her,
Right.
And
Oh, right. And then you're not invited to Thanksgiving and they hate you.
Yeah, it just becomes.
What if it's like, what if you say this, it is sticky. You're right. Because you don't know how mature they are and how they're going to handle it. What if it's just like you ask them probing questions? Like, how's it going? How's it really going?
Yeah.
Because I see sometimes you guys I'm just curious because I care about you.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like you're not always, sometimes she says things to you and I feel like I wouldn't be able to handle it. Like, just in that way. I don't know. I just think that there's ways that we're sometimes too nice to our friends and we don't want to get, we don't want to rock the boat, but when we have those friends that are closest, sometimes there's a way to do it that feels good to everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you should call your friend on the way home. I know. You were in, what was your toxic relationship like? What made it toxic?
I actually dated a mild, well, not mild. I dated like an alcoholic, and I didn't really realize it was a very short-lived relationship,
Right.
of a few months. But I was also working on a movie at the time when it happened. I was working on 2 different movies actually back to back, and so the relationship sort of got stretched out a lot longer than it would have normally if I had just been home and
Right.
I had seen the behavior patterns.
Right. People can hide it for a while, right?
So it's stretched out a little longer than it should have, but I chalked up a couple bad nights, like big nights where she got wasted, drunk, and kind of made a big scene or acted completely inappropriate. To like, oh well, like that was like a crazy night. Maybe that was okay.
Yeah.
And then sober, she was great.
Right.
It was great. It was very very charged and very strong. So I think that kept me around longer than I should have.
Got
been.
it.
Yeah.
And then you notice after. Yeah, sometimes it takes a while to notice those. The drinking thing is the worst. I mean, I have a hard time with that.
Yeah, my mom used to always say, "Pay attention."
Yeah.
Right? And like it's so true. Now you really pay attention. Like, how do people treat the waiter and waitress when they walk in the restaurant? Like you can
Right away.
like a lot of stuff can go over your head if you're kind of under the like love spell sometimes.
Yes.
And you're like, wait, like pay the fuck
attention.
attention. Like see how they treat people, see how they are with their friends, see who their friends are.
Yes.
Because the apple doesn't fall far from the
It's
tree.
so true. Yeah, there's all the information. My mom always says the issues you have on the third date you'll have forever. That's something my mom taught me.
Ooh, that's a good
and
one.
she's really, it's true. And it's not that you'll necessarily see them, but to know that, I want everyone to stop and think about that now. Someone you've been dating for a few months or a few years, I'll bet you there's a challenge you have right now and you probably already knew it. You probably already came up on that third date. And so what are you going to do about it? Because people don't change unless they want to. So that's my dating advice there. Any final closing words from you, Scott Eastwood? So fun. Thanks for coming in.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right, it's a good time.
Yeah, I'm sorry I broke the clitoris.
It's okay. There's been
clitoris.
more clitorises.
The old
Clitoris,
clitoris.
Dolores. There's a lot more where that came from. But everyone should check out your podcast. Your
Live Life Better.
Live Life Better. It's at Scott Eastwood everywhere. Instagram. You've got a lot of followers and people. I know you don't care. Social media. I'm kidding because you were talking about social media. Social media is a pain in the ass. It is kind of, right? Or do you enjoy it?
I think it is the way in which it's a weird thing, social media, because I remember before there was social media. I remember how I felt before there was social media, and now it's such a part of our lives.
Right.
It's so time consuming. It can be habitual. I think it needs, just like you were saying earlier, moderation. Even moderation. Like you really have to be diligent about that. You know, I mean, it's easy to get lost in that world, and you need to remember, like, this is like not real. This is fake. This is this is a thing. Like what we're doing right now is real.
This is real.
We're having a conversation. You know, this is just stuff. It's noise. It
is noise.
Ambient stuff.
Right. Try to walk away from the phone. Like I try to do it when I'm working out or when I'm just like leaving the house or work. I'll like trying to like put it away, like turn it off. Just distraction. Okay, so you're at Scott Eastwood. Check out your podcast. Check out your life.
Check out my life.
And good luck with everything you're doing. I love that you're a seeker and that you're doing good in the world.
Thank you.
And you're awesome. So thanks for being here. And thanks everyone for listening. You're awesome. And thanks to my amazing team, Ken, volunteer Sarah, producer Jamie, and Michael. Was it good for you? Email me, feedback@sexwithemily.com.